Welcome to Podcasts Plus, your data-first football briefing. All right, let's get right into it. At the very highest level, the game isn't really won on the flanks anymore, or, with a simple long ball. The modern tactical war is fought and won right in the center of the pitch. Control that area, and you control the match. So that's the big question, right? That's what we're tackling today. We're going to move past gut feelings and dig into the hard numbers that truly define dominance. And hey, if you're ready to get into the data with us, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss one of these deep dives. To even begin measuring control, first you got to understand the tactical system that's specifically designed to achieve it. So let's break down what analysts call the box midfield. So what is it exactly? Well, picture a dynamic 2+2 structure right in the heart of the action. It's built to do two things really, really well. First, it creates an overload, a numerical advantage, to play right through an opponent's high press. And second, it forms this dense central block that's perfectly set up to win the ball back the instant it's lost. That defensive shape, the one that's always ready to pounce, that's what we call a rest defense. Okay, so we have the tactical theory down. Now, let's get to the tools. How do we actually put a number on a team's ability to move the ball forward through this whole structure? This is what we call the language of line breaking. First up is a core metric, the progressive pass, or just PP. And as you can see, the definition is super specific. According to FBref, this isn't just any pass that goes forward. It has to do one of two things. Either move the ball at least 10 yards closer to the opponent's goal, or it has to be a completed pass that lands inside the penalty box. So what does that really mean? Well, the bottom line is this. A high number of progressive passes shows you which players are actively trying to slice open the other team's defense. It's the go-to metric for measuring passing with real aggressive intent. Now for the other side of the coin, the progressive carry, or PC. The definition here runs parallel to the pass. It's basically anytime a player runs with the ball at their feet for 10 or more yards straight towards the opposition's goal. And this highlights a really key difference in playing style. A progressive pass measures how you advance the ball through distribution, but a progressive carry, that measures your progress through sheer dynamism. It flags the players who are willing to just drive right at defenders and into open space. When you put them side by side, it becomes crystal clear, doesn't it? You've got your deep-lying playmaker, the player with tons of progressive passes who runs the game from deep. And then you've got your dynamic box-to-box midfielder, whose high progressive carry numbers show they break lines by running with the ball. A truly great box midfield needs a bit of both. Okay, so we've covered what individual players do. Now let's zoom out and look at the whole team. How can we measure a team's total tactical dominance? Because it's not just about who has the ball, it's about where on the pitch they have it. What teams do you think are the best at this? Drop a name in the comments below. I'd love to see what you think. Simple possession stats can be misleading. A much smarter metric is something called field tilt. As the definition here shows, it's basically calculating what percentage of all the passes made in the final third belong to your team. It's a direct measurement of who owns the dangerous territory. And this is exactly why it's so powerful. A team can have 70% possession just knocking it around their own back line. Field tilt cuts right through that noise. It tells you, with data, which team is actually pinning their opponent in their own end and creating sustained pressure. And the data gives us a really clear target to look for. The analysis shows that a field tilt of over 65%, well, that's the signature of a truly elite, dominant team that's basically imposing its will on the game. All right, let's flip to the other side of the ball, pressure. We measure this with PPDA, which stands for passes per defensive action. This is all about pressing intensity. It tracks how many passes your opponent gets to make before your team jumps in with a tackle, an interception, or a challenge high up the pitch, deep in their territory. Now, the key thing to remember here is that a lower number is better. It's a bit counterintuitive, I know, but a low PPDA score, that points to a suffocating counterpress. It means that as soon as that team loses the ball, their rest defense is all over the opponent, winning it back almost immediately. And just like with field tilt, there's a hard number we can look for. An elite pressing team, one that's really executing the defensive side of that box midfield, is going to have a PPDA score below 9.0. So let's put it all together. You can take these team-level metrics and build a simple but really powerful scorecard to judge any team that's trying to control the center of the pitch. This table right here is basically the holy grail for an analyst. To prove a box midfield is actually working, a team has to hit both of these benchmarks. They need a field tilt over 65% to show they own the territory, and a PPDA under 9.0 to show they have an elite counterpress. That's it. That's the complete data signature of central control. But, and this is a big but, like any data model, we have to be honest about its limits. These numbers, these event-based metrics, they're incredibly insightful, but they absolutely do not capture the whole story. This quote from the source paper just sums it up perfectly. The data tells us who is making these progressive actions, but it can't tell us why. It can't measure the player's intelligence, or the timing, or the split-second decision that led to the action. That's where the eye test, where video analysis is still completely essential. Which kind of leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Right now, we can quantify actions, but the next massive leap forward in football analytics is going to be about quantifying thought. How do we measure a player's awareness, their tactical understanding? That, right there, is the next frontier. If you enjoy these kinds of deep dives, please consider supporting our work directly through Patreon or by clicking the join button. Thanks for tuning in.